At the University of North Dakota from 1995 to 1998, Jim Kleinsasser, a two-time first-team All-American tight end for the Fighting Hawks. Jim, you stayed close to home in North Dakota despite interest from larger programs, and it clearly paid off. How did playing in that environment shape your approach to football and your approach to life?
Well, the people I encountered at UND, I mean, just the role models I had, the men that were there to shape me and guide me. Yeah, I had a lot of people pushing my sled at North Dakota, and I can't thank everyone enough for what they gave me and kind of the track that they set me on.
Okay, we have to talk about the movie 50 Dates. How did that come about, and did you ever expect to be such a pop culture reference?
I had no idea it was even in there until one of my friends called me up and said, "Hey, you're in this movie, 51st Date." So, yeah, I had no idea, and so somebody on the set was probably a Vikings fan. So,
what a great legacy! Congratulations on your induction.
Thank you.
From Hall of Famer was a two-time first-team All-American who claimed the 2003 Gagliardi Trophy as the best player in Division III. Wide receiver Blake Elliott starred at St. John's University in Minnesota from 2000 to 2003. Blake, you're the first player from St. John's to be inducted to the Hall of Fame. How does this shine a spotlight on the Johnnies program, and what made the culture under Hall of Fame coach Gagliardi so special?
There's a million things that made the culture with John as a coach special. All-time winningest coach in the history of college football, and to be part of that and the ecosystem that he created, there's no doubt that I would not be sitting at this stage if it wasn't for his involvement in that program for 57 years. And especially coming from a small school, if the program is not elite and competing for national championships and winning national championships every year, no matter what statistics you put up, you wouldn't receive recognition such as this. So I'm extremely grateful to be in the Hall of Fame with him.
You set an NCAA all divisions record, 47 consecutive games with a reception. What does that record say about the small school experience and the competitiveness of D3 football?
You know, we played in a very competitive league, and I think as we move into this new age of NIL, you're seeing guys that maybe were late bloomers that are going to smaller schools and performing very well and moving up and being very successful at larger schools. And so the opportunity to play, again, in an environment that winning was so ingrained in the program was a special opportunity.
Blake, congratulations. We look forward to celebrating with you this evening. From 2002 to 2005, Minnesota center Greg Eslinger twice earned first-team All-America honors and won the Outland and Remington trophies. Greg, your journey began with a homemade VHS highlight tape, for those that remember those, and a generic camp invite, a far cry from today's all-star recruiting. As you enter the Hall of Fame and you reflect on that underdog path, what do you hope that young players, especially those who aren't identified as the blue chippers, take from your story and the inspiration they can take from that journey?
Well, yeah, I mean, I look back and have done a lot of reflection on that. And, you know, it's just me and my old man that made that VHS tape. And I came from a small town, and or a smaller town in a state that wasn't heavily recruited. So we had to do a lot of our own self-recruiting. That's what we did. And so I look at that, and I look at, you know, just coming from that atmosphere, and being able to just kind of put my head down, take the opportunities as they come, and just really work hard and really appreciate it all. And so that's what kind of led me to the University of Minnesota, because there's a lot of five-star recruits that are maybe sitting on this stage. I was probably about a half star, and so I was the try-hard kid that really tried to drive his own path and make my own way. So I mean, that's the advice I'd give the kids now, is just keep going.
This is not your first time honored by the NFF. You were a National Scholar Athlete. You were a finalist for the Campbell Trophy in your senior year. What inspired you and drove you to not just excel on the playing field, but in the classroom as well?
I mean, that 100% came from my home life growing up. Both my parents, who are here today, were public educators in the Bismarck public school system, and so they drove and instilled in me from the get-go of making sure I was doing well in the classroom. And growing up in Bismarck, I shared the same school as my dad, so anytime I got in trouble, I wouldn't go to the principal's office. I'd go to my dad's classroom. So I had no choice.
Well, not in the principal's office today. You're going in the College Hall of Fame, so congratulations.
Yeah.
Excited for that.
Appreciate it.
A 19